Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the video game Immortall to see exactly what it does. One of the main things that it does is attempt to produce empathy in its players. Now before we get into the game, it's important to take a moment to set up this critical experience we're having. Immortall presents itself with the tagline, "Take a poignant walk through the life of an alien caught in the midst of humanity." And besides this, there's little actual story provided, and the game then allows the player to rely on their own imagination to provide any substance for what is going on in the story by extrapolating upon it. Now let's go ahead and press play. Well, I've already pressed play, I guess, because the game doesn't have a play button. Sorry. Wrote this before I started. Little warning for the viewers, I intend to stop and start a little bit as we go to gameplay. I mean, as you can see now, I'm just sitting there as we watch this poignant scene of a little girl staring at this weird venom blob. So, you didn't get to see the beginning, well, the first few seconds, but that spaceship to the left has already crashed. We crawled out of it, and now we're crawling towards this little girl. The viewer, and one thing that I will say the game does automatically by having an alien and a spaceship crash is call the viewer's minds back to things that they might have seen in the past already, such as E.T. or Superman stories like Clark Kent crash landing in a field to be captured by Mom and Pa Kent. Did I say captured? I meant adopted. So now here we can see that the comparison to Clark Kent isn't exactly obvious yet. We're going to have to work up to that. It's easier to see E.T. just because the baby or blob thing doesn't even look human. We have to believe that is the infantile stage of this alien. So now, let's walk up to the girl, see what happens. And she picks us up. Music does a little poignant change as we grow. And now we start to walk with her. This is a side-scroller game, of course, and this is our first little hint of empathy, which is what I believe the game heavily does. Now, this is another member of the girl's family who has just fed us, and as we walk underneath him, we grow, and give him a little piggyback ride. Like, that is the truth of this game, that we're just kind of becoming a part of the family, like, immediately. Now, they freak out for a second, but don't worry, they still love us. And then we just walk by this house. For the purposes of this for the purposes of simplicity, basically, we're gonna just call our blob guy Immortal, or Immortall, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And we just start walking with this family until we suddenly see that there's a war going on. These barricades have clearly been up for some time, so we're the viewers left to assume that we're in some strange future where the Red Dawn scenario actually happened. These are the Soviets attacking us, I'm sure. And now the real game begins. We actually start to work with the family to try to keep them alive, if you can call it working with them. What we're really doing is primarily using our body as a shield and doing whatever it takes to protect these people who have essentially raised us at this point. The game then basically asks the player to walk through this strange area where we're not exactly sure what's happening. Since we're an alien, we of course have no dog in this conflict. Pun intended. And the only thing you can really do as the alien is to allow your body to block the bullets. You become a shield for the family, and that's when I believe that the Clark Kent metaphor starts to pull in a lot stronger, when you're left with nothing to do except for do your best to keep them alive by using your power, what little you have, just to block these bullets. Not much is really going on besides that, but that's a big point of the empathy game, I believe. I mean, you have to choose whether taking less damage means more to you, or protecting these people who fed and raised you, essentially, since let's pretend that this alien's lifespan is its alien's infantile life cycle is extremely small, and just feeding you that apple was enough to get you through childhood, but pretend that is, in a way, that makes them your mother. They are your nurturer, so you're being forced to choose whether to allow them to die, which is completely legitimate. I've played it before, and you can just let them die and keep walking on, and the game doesn't punish you. Or you can work to use your body to protect them. And you can see now we start to get slower, so we see the effects of trying to protect this family. Oh no. Explosion. Oh, I'm slowing down a lot now. He's gonna be dead soon, I think. Who's gonna shoot first? I like the slow motion because suddenly I'm much faster than I was before. Like, in a way, impossibly fast for the way that he's moving now, but it's because I was protecting people. Like, it's showing you empathy, if there's any other way to say it. So, just to wrap it all up here, we're going to watch our player character, Immortall, die, and point out that you could easily have played this game without ever actually experiencing empathy and walk away from it, having missed a worthwhile experience. However, all the background is there if you're willing to look for it. In being tasked with choosing whether to protect his family or live your own individual Immortall life, you have been given the same question as Superman. Will you protect those weaker than you? Do you empathize with their situation, even if you can't understand it, and will you do anything about it? If the game does succeed, if the game does succeed in what it is attempting to do, then the players will behave as demonstrated here and do their best to use their own body to block the barrage. The attacks sent by the disguised Soviets. In doing so, you essentially sacrifice your lives to protect the people who raised you, giving them the only thing that you possibly can as a strange amorphous blob creature without arms: your life. The game calls upon the player's ability to connect with those who raised them in a way Immortall's story runs directly parallel to Kal-El's. However, at the end of Immortall's story, there's only death. And you can see here that he lives on in their hearts, because he lives forever immortal. Thank you.